Okay, here's our instructional video on order of operations. Many of you, probably most of you, have heard of this and know it as PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Just helps you keep track of the order in which you are supposed to process the operations. So that stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, and addition and subtraction. So the biggest mistakes people tend to make is they really understand the idea of PEMDAS and those letters, but they think those letters are the exact order in which things should be done, meaning they think all multiplication has to be done before all division and all addition has to be done before all subtraction. That's not true. You want to think that multiplication and division are on the same level. So as you're working left to right, whichever comes first, whether multiplication or division, is what you do first. It's just that you have to do all multiplication and division before doing any addition and subtraction. And then addition and subtraction works the same way. You don't have to do all the addition before the subtraction. You just do whatever comes first as you work from left to right. That is a mistake that I see quite frequently. The other one, which I myself still have a tendency to make after all of this time, is we're so wired to read left to right and not skip over any words when we're reading that it is very hard to break that habit. So it's very easy to do something out of order, not because you don't know the order that it's supposed to be done in. It's more just you worked from left to right because of how deeply ingrained the habit is. So you really just have to slow yourself down, force yourself to look at everything, knowing that sometimes you're going to have to skip over an operation to the one that you have to do first. So, some examples. And I have on here that each operation is going to be done on its own line, no more little numbers. I think when we first learned to do this, we're writing all these little numbers up above here and everything. That tends to lead to a lot of mistakes as well. So even though you're going to think it's a little tedious, we're going to do one step on every line because that's really the easiest way to keep track of everything. So when I think about my order of operations, I know I have to do parentheses first. So right here I have a set of parentheses. I need to do what's in here first. So I'm literally going to recopy everything down until I get to those parentheses. Now within the parentheses is an exponent. So I do have to deal with that. I can't do anything until I do that. So 2 squared is 4. Plus 9, again, I'm recopying everything. So I did one operation on one line, went to the parentheses first, but there was something I had to do within those parentheses before I could move forward. So now I still have parentheses, so I still have to deal with those. So I'm recopying everything else down. 4 plus 9 is 13. Now this is what I mean, how it's so ingrained to just start doing things left to right, that many people are going to do this 4 plus 3 first. I can't do that because that's addition. This right here, this number right up against a set of parentheses is multiplication. So I have to do that first. So I'm just going to recopy the 4. And right here kind of goes what I was talking about yesterday with how you want to think about integers. This is a positive 3 times a positive 13, which is a positive 39. And then I'm just recopying that 5. The negative 5, actually. So now I just work left to right. 4 plus 39 is 43 minus 5, and 43 minus 5 is 38. Then I'm done. So again, I did every step on its own line. Did it real systematically, thought about what I was doing, and there I go. Okay, moving on to this one. This has a little bit more to it. There's actually 2 sets of parentheses here that I kind of am going to deal with, and I'm going to see how things play out as I start to do that. This actually right here should be a division sign, not right there. That's the Smartboard software. Okay, so anyway, I have in parentheses 2 plus 3, and that whole quantity is squared, plus the whole quantity of whatever 5 squared minus 5 is divided by 10. So I'm going to do all the parentheses first. So 2 plus 3 is 5. In these parentheses, I have an exponent, so I'm going to do that first. 5 squared is 25 minus 5 divided by 10. Again, I did one thing on that line. Here, I'm going to force myself to follow the operations as I said they had to happen. So I'm going to just rewrite this 5 squared because I still have parentheses to deal with. 25 minus 5 is 20. And I'm recopying. Now I have an exponent. I have to deal with that exponent before I could do any multiplying and dividing. So 5 squared is 25, and then I'm just recopying plus 20 divided by 10. Again, your gut instinct is going to be to take care of this 25 plus 20 first, but remember you cannot do any adding and subtracting before you do all of your multiplying and dividing. Here's division right here. So this is a positive 20 divided by a positive 10, which is 2. So I'm just recopying this 25 and rewriting this division as the answer. Now 25 plus 2 is 27. Again, the best thing to do on these problems, especially since one small error is going to throw the whole thing off, is to just slowly, systematically, one thing on each line. When I get to this, again, I see some parentheses, but there's nothing inside the parentheses to do. There's only one single number in these parentheses, so that actually means multiplication. So when I look at this problem right here, there are really no parentheses, and there are no exponents. So now I'm moving right on to multiplication and division. So again, thinking in terms of integers, what's happening right here in this section is negative 3 times 5 times 4. So I'm recopying this 75. Negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15. I'm recopying this times 4 divided by 3 minus 5. Okay, I still have multiplication right here. So this 75 is still getting recopied. Negative 15 times 4 is negative 60. And then I'm recopying everything else. Again, one operation per line. This problem kept on having the same thing that I had to skip over. I keep having to skip over that problem that's at the beginning that I want to do so badly because it's first, but I have to skip over it to get to this division because it has to be done before any kind of subtraction. So I still have this 75. Negative 60 divided by 3 is negative 20. And then I'm still copying that down. And now I just have some regular math. 75 minus 20, again, I could think of it as a positive 75 and a negative 20, still different sign difference, which is 55. And then 55 minus 5, positive 55, negative 5, the difference is 50. Okay. And again, even though in a way this looks easier than something like this, in its own way, this was a little bit more difficult because of how many times you really had to fight the idea of doing what visually looks like it should come first and really keeping in mind those orders of operations. Okay, when I get to a problem like this, a fraction in its own way is kind of a grouping symbol. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify the entire numerator, simplify the denominator, and then at the very end, I'm going to end up with a division problem. So even though that sort of contradicts the order of operations, I wouldn't do division last if I had, also addition and subtraction in there, but the fraction bar makes just a little bit of a different situation. So I have to simplify each part first. But in each part, I'm going to follow the order of operations. So when I look at this numerator, I don't have any parentheses, but I do have an exponent. So I'm going to deal with that first. 6 squared is 36, divided by 6. 8 divided by 4, that's 2. So the denominator is simplified, but the numerator is not yet. So again, I can't do this 10 plus 36 first. I have to skip over this addition to get to the division. So 36 divided by 6 is 6. And then 10 plus 6 is 16 over 2. So my answer is 8. Again, I did simplified the numerator first, simplified the denominator, then did a division problem at the very end. Okay, this is quite the humdinger. There's parentheses and grouping symbols all over the place. So if I really look at what I have first, these outer brackets still work as parentheses. They just look a little different. Here's some parentheses here, parentheses here. There is parentheses here, but with only one number inside of them. So this, what is out here, is actually multiplication. But again, I have to work with parentheses first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with the parentheses within the parentheses first. So I'm recopying this 3. Right now I have 4 squared plus 2 to the third. 4 squared is 16. 2 to the third is 8 because 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 times 2 is 8. I'm dealing with my parentheses first. This is 24 divided by 12, which is 2. Closing off that, and I'm just going to keep recopying this, what's out here. I still have some things to deal with inside these big brackets. Okay, 16 plus 8 is 24. Right here I have multiplication. Positive 5 times positive 2, which is a positive 10. You could still be thinking about it as plus 5 times 2. You're getting to the same place. I just like to start thinking in terms of integers and how to think about them. Again, I'm just going to recopy this just so that I follow, why do I keep forgetting that one? Just so that I really do follow the order of operations. Still have parentheses to deal with. That's what these brackets are here. Okay, just because they look different, they still operate as parentheses. 3 times 24 is 72. (72) plus 10 is 82. 82, because right here again, this is multiplication, so I have to do that first. Negative 1 times 12 is negative 12. I could still think about it as 82 minus 1 times 12. I'm getting to the same spot either way, and 82 minus 12 is 70. Positive 82, negative 12, different sign, difference, subtract. So that is order of operations. Again, the best way to do it is very, very systematically with one operation per line. Yes, it might take you a lot of lines, but that's not only the best way to do it to keep track of everything, it's really the best way for your problem to look if you keep missing answers, because that's how somebody's going to help you figure out where you went wrong, if they could really see how everything worked out. So that's about it. Move on to your practice, and please ask whatever questions you need. Bye.